Alexander Isak. He didn't go to training. He didn't get on the plane. And the third thing he does is tell everyone he wants to leave. What's next for Newcastle? What's next for Alexander Isak? And plenty of other stuff around our leadership restructure. Let's find out right here on Toon Tactics TV, folks. All right. Good evening, folks. Very blessed to have you guys. How are you all doing today? I hope you guys had a fine day and a fine evening, wherever you are in the morning. Maybe you just woken up, you're about to go to work, maybe you just come back from a long shift. Maybe you're trying to get to sleep and you need some Toon Tactics TV, like just whistling in the background to help you get to sleep. No matter where you are, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me on Toon Tactics TV. So God bless you all, guys. Great to have you guys all in on the show tonight with me. And what's been going on? I think it's been quiet. It's nothing much going on the scene. It's all 9 to 5 straight. Nothing much going on. Just Newcastle's best striker going asking to leave. That's all. Nothing much to talk about. No, only joking, folks. But look, I'm super excited. First of all, I'm super excited because we've got an incredible chat. You guys are already buzzing in the background. I see Wobojog here 10 minutes before the stream even started. It says, I'll take a front row seat for this one. God bless you, Wobojog. Great to have you. Great to have the Arsenal fans of you here as well. Really good. So before, also good to see Sire Robson here, God bless you. So what a quiet day. It's been a quiet day, not much going on, isn't it, Sire? And Wobble Drugs is already here. Whoops, too excited, completely forgot to like the stream. Guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I know that we're all looking forward to hearing, getting our reflection, getting our thoughts, getting your views on all things that's been going on. Online, obviously, I've been talking online. I've been talking on WhatsApp with all the guys, Toon fans and opposition fans. Toon fans, everyone's going through various stages of grief here. Some of us are in denial. Some of us are in anger. Some of us are negotiating, bartering. Some of us are already in the acceptance stage. That's what we're doing. Some of us are already showing our bums online and already saying that, oh, it's the end of the world and everything else like that. But we'll find out. We'll see what's going on and we'll see what is happening. But guys, on tonight's show, we're going to be obviously talking all things Alexander Isak. We're going to be talking also the potential people that could replace him or join him at Newcastle United. We'll find out. But hopefully also at the end of the show, we get time. As always, guys, I prepare these shows and Newcastle never fail but to make news that totally throws my shows offline. So I'm actually hoping to talk about a little bit about our leadership structure. And guys, did you know we actually bought a player today? Newcastle bought a player today, but nobody's talking about that. Hopefully, we'll give him another mention as well. But I'm super duper excited to be able to welcome our special guests. Obviously, we're going to have Mitch from Where the Owls Sleep, and we're going to have Bobby Fairview providing that. You guys already know we value their views, their expertise, their all-round personality on the show, and you guys always ask for them. So right here, by popular demand, allow me to welcome Mitch, allow me to welcome Bobby Fairview to the show. How are you gentlemen doing?
Very well.
You guys are in sync. You've been
I know. Both spoke at the same time and paused at the same time.
You guys are in sync. Well, we're going to be talking. Before I start the show, let me just get the comments in quickly. Mitch, all good with you?
Yeah.
Otherwise, how you finding things?
Even with the Isak news, it's still all well over here.
Yeah, I know you. Me and Mitch in the WhatsApp group, like back to back, just shooting our ops and
full defense mode has been activated today.
Full defense mode has been activated. Mr. Fairview, how are you?
I am well and always happy to be here. Always happy to be invited by the Toon as a as a blue. Big up to you, gentlemen, and to the chat.
Big up to you, Mr. Fairview, and your views. I know is always going to be candid. Is going to provide us with an outsider's. You're an insider because you're part of the furniture here, but you're an outsider in terms of as a Chelsea fan. We're going to have some perspective because I'm extremely biased towards Newcastle, so it's important to have someone who doesn't care to give us that perspective. But before we get into it, because I'm going to read an article first from. The Iron newspaper and Douglas, and he kind of summarizes everything together and kind of sets the platform for us. Before I do that, we've got a few folks in the chat I want to make sure I say hello to. Oh, I think I did. And this final one from, oh gosh, just when I think it's done, it's not done. Wilbur, you know what exactly rattled me today as an Arsenal fan? Not the Isak news. I've accepted we're never getting him, but yeah. It's the Sesko discounting his fee and wages for a special club. My head has got me and Wilbur both have high views of Sesko. I'm going to do a quick review of Mr. Sesko today as well. I didn't get a chance to read some of his reports, but scouting reports, but hopefully we've got some folks here that can provide some of that. Michael NUFC, all right, Phil. Good day, sir. God bless you. What a day, man. I'm telling you, it is. Geordie C, one of the founding members of Toon Tactics TV. Good to see Geordie Z. Glad you're on. I'm dying to hear your views on the current situation. It took Isak trying to leave Newcastle to bring you back, Geordie Z. I haven't seen you for ages. Goodness gracious. Sire Robson, but it's great to have you, sir. Sire Robson, we need to go in for either Vlahovic or Sesko. Okay, we'll talk about some of our options. And finally, Wobojog, Isak has a chance to do the funniest thing in the world. I can't even finish the sentence. Zubimendi 2.0 if you're catching my drift. Oh my word. You know what? I'm not even gonna. I'll keep my powder dry. We'll see where we're at with that. All right. So let's set the scene. I've got a wonderful article here from Mr. Douglas from the Iron newspaper, and as always, you guys know I do like Mr. Douglas. He typically gives a fair and balanced view on things, but in this article, he sets the scene quite well. So let me find it where we are. Not this one. Hold on. Let me just make sure I get to where I need to get to. Bookmarks. All right, cool. So we've got it. Let me find it back here. So he sets the scene really, really well. I want to make sure I get that. And then I'll ask my esteemed panel. Well, I'll give a view and I'll ask my esteemed panel for theirs and obviously the chat. All right, you guys can see everything. All right, so this is from Mr. Douglas. You know that he's, like I always say, he's the man that had Paul Mitchell for an hour and a half and got his views on everything Newcastle. And I wonder who his links are now. So this is a little bit behind. Come on. I am on the paywall. Here we go. All right. So I'm a bit naughty because it is behind the paywall, but I've paid for it. This is the one time, this is the one exception I'm going to make. And it's going to be Mr. Isak. Mr. Isak, you're making me break all sorts of rules today. All right. So I'm going to read it because it sets the scene for us. So Mark Douglas, Northern football correspondent. Alexander Isak wants to leave Newcastle United and has resisted tentative attempts to tie him down to a new contract. Okay, so we have made attempts to get him down to a new contract. Isak was left out of Newcastle's preseason tour of Asia on Tuesday. It's either us leaving him out or himself leaving himself out. We'll talk about that. With the club citing a thigh injury as the reason for his omission, which we find out it was all clear. But it is understood that the Sweden international is unsettled and favours exploring a move away from Newcastle amidst interest from Liverpool and what his representatives believe are life-altering sums that might be available in Saudi Arabia. Newcastle's stance remains that he is not for sale, a message that has been reiterated on Thursday, today, and they are not countenancing his departure this summer. Interesting. But Isak's unhappiness is a major test for that. And it's got a big old picture of Mr. Sesko, the potential replacement for Mr. Isak. Realistically, they have a huge decision to make on his future, with Isak's valuation to be believed to be around the 130 million mark. I'm a bit annoyed about that because it should be 150 million mark. Doesn't mean we're already faltering at the price. We're going to ask and find out. Initial talks with Isak's representatives have not borne any significant progress on a new long-term deal, and while the club still wants to tie him to a new contract, there is a recognition that those conversations are on the back burner. Liverpool's interest remains despite signing Hugo Ekitike earlier this week. So you can play two up front. Who would have thought that? And the paper has been told that they have enough financial wiggle room to add Isak to their own forward line, although there has not been an official bid yet. Okay, so the Reds also anticipate further sales this summer. Isak, I think Diaz is on his way today. Isak could earn many multiples of his current wage if he opted to go to Saudi Arabia, but it is understood that he wants to stay in a top league. So A is the difference here. Newcastle believe they can keep him. Okay, and Eddie Howe has handled the situation sensitively in the hope of persuading him to stay. But the Magpies have been monitoring top-level strikers all summer, and the iPaper understands that RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko, thank goodness, is a possible alternative if Isak is allowed to leave. The Magpies are known to be a long-term suitors of the Slovenian. That's true. That would be in addition to Johan Wissa, who, if you depended on what accounts you're reading, could be on his way to Newcastle. We'll see. The Brentford forward, who is a 30 million target, as a Callum Wilson replacements. Negotiation of the DR Congo International are progressing, but there remains a considerable gap between the club's valuations, which if you put it on repeat for Newcastle's transfer window so far, that is
just
where,
change the picture in the middle, innit?
just change the picture in the middle. All right, so look, gentlemen, I'll give my quick take, and then I'll see where you're at with things as well. We have seen this. Obviously, there's been rumours around. We've seen this coming for a while now. There's been rumours around Mr. Isak and Liverpool and other teams for a while. My hope, as a Newcastle fan, was that we'd keep him for another season at least and secure Champions League with him for a second season running, because I think that would hold Newcastle in good stead, and then we can have an arrangement with Mr. Isak if should he want to leave, that he could there'll be something we'll bump up his pay, might create a release clause, and the ideal situation for the club and as fans, would sell him abroad to somebody else. However, Mr. Isak obviously has kicked up a fuss. Where we are at the moment is obviously, as our newspaper says, Isak isn't going to the Asia tour. He's not interested in contract renewals. I spoke about it on Tuesday, where the rumored 300k wages that he demanded, which at the time was a rumor, seems to be very much the actual thing. I said it at the time that if it's true, he's priced himself out of contract negotiations. So which appears to be true, and he's priced himself out. He's very much, he said his turn and he wants to leave. Fine. Obviously, Liverpool are strong contenders. Newcastle have the option of either keeping him, regardless of how he feels about it. It's interesting in this article that Mr. Douglas says he's put us in the corner because this is like, we're now like nearly halfway through the transfer window, and we then have to now go find not only looking for a striker, but now have to find two strikers. And if Mr. Sesko, as he did to Arsenal, ask for wages that are eye-watering and a release clause, we might not be too enamored of giving him that deal. The other thing is, and as even the rivals have pointed out, I've watched, is his timing is not very good, because Arsenal have bought a striker, Chelsea's have bought strikers, Liverpool have bought a striker that we know they're looking for another one. Barcelona would probably want him next season. Munich would probably want him next season. So his timing isn't great. There's rumours that his head has been turned by intermediaries and everybody else, and we know how big and bad and global Liverpool are. With all, obviously, that's very evident. So Newcastle have the option of, regardless of keeping him, some say against his will, selling him and then replacing him hopefully with a Benjamin Sesko or someone of that caliber, or winning him round at least for this year, giving him, upgrade his contract and carry on as we were before. Maybe there's more options. My conclusion is that this is not an easy situation, but it's important for Newcastle to keep calm and to handle it in the interest of a club. So if we are to sell him, I would ideally sell him outside of the Premier League, or if it is in the Premier League, stick to the 150 price that you've been setting since February of this year. Selling him for any less makes us look weak. That's kind of my take on it. And it's a big test of PIF. We're going to find out what they're really made of, in my opinion, and whether the criticisms that we've kind of heard bubbling in the background around PIF, not being interested, not being quite with it, whether they will indeed come to the surface. Okay, so I've spoken enough. Mitch, and then I'll go to Bobby. What's your take on all of this?
I think I said this to you earlier. I feel like I'm one of the few people that hasn't sort of started jumping up and down and getting either giddy like the rival fans are getting, or getting rather frustrated by it like the Newcastle fans are getting, because all of this just seems like a contract power play to me. I don't feel there's any real comments in any of these articles that have been written that suggest that anything solid has been said about Isak leaving whatsoever. They've been fed a little bit of information and they've run with a story as breaking that he's leaving. But all of the comments are the positive comments coming from Newcastle's side. There's not really anything that's come out where anybody's actually quoted anybody of saying anything other than we believe or we understand, a source has said. It's the usual stuff, and we've been having it about Isak all summer so far already. I genuinely believe that this is a contract power play. He either wants something in his contract that we're not giving him at the minute, or he wants a little bit more money than what we're offering. Because as much as this is what they called bit of fag paper maths that I did a couple of weeks ago, it looks to me that if we gave him a new 5-year deal with amortization, we could give him about 100 grand and it not cost us anything, because it changes the amount we pay in the transfer fees, but we then just pay him that in wages going forward. So it doesn't actually change the amount of money we're paying per season, and we could give him about 100 grand more.
So you feel like it's a contract power play, essentially?
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. All of it, looking at it, like... this is going to be a bit of a weird analogy, but I used to be big on conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met another friend who was big on conspiracy theories, but saw things from a different angle to what I did, which made me take a step back and have a look, and it gives you a different picture. And I do that in every situation I can possibly can. So when you get too close to something, you put your face in it, you can't see everything else that's around you. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody's kind of doing that at the minute. They're seeing their picture, and they're seeing their picture, but they're not seeing everything else that's going on around it. It's like having a puzzle, but not putting the puzzle together how it looks on the front of the box. And I think there's a lot of people doing that at the minute. It might be me just hoping, or I'm seeing an angle that's not actually there, but everything smacks of a contract power play for me.
Well, Wilburjog here also kind of agrees in a sense, the way he says, Wilburjog says, the timing of this makes me more suspicious that it is about getting favorable new contract terms like wage. I do think this is a very loud way of asking for it, if that's the case, but contract terms like wages and release clause, etc. Otherwise, it would make more sense to make his intentions clear. Okay, Bobby, what's your view? Is it a power play? What's your kind of what was your initial reaction to all of this, and what's happening?
I will take my role seriously as being the objective one. I think there's a little bit of hopium there, Mitch. And I would agree with you, Philip, that that'll be a very, very loud way to try to get better contract terms. And in fact, I think that Newcastle probably would be offering a good package. Maybe not as much as 300, but I have to take a step back and ask myself, really, what are the goals of the PIF? Where is the project going? what is the club trying to achieve? And I think this summer has really caused me to really take a step back and try to understand that, because I'm now confused. I believed before that the club was constrained by PSR and various spending limits. But now we see other clubs doing, fairly basic things to avoid compliance issues. And we're not seeing Newcastle implement some of these basic things. If I'm seeing that, Isak is seeing that. All right. Not only that, his salary or his request for 300K is pretty much market. I think attacking midfielders, those inside forwards, etc., they're all low 200s at his age. As a goal scorer, a striker, you would expect him to get at least a 50K to 100K premium. So I think his wages and what he's asking for, I think that's fine. I also think that, for him to be on the current wages that he's on for the next 3 years, that will be unacceptable to him, right? So even though he signed the contract a few years ago, etc., the point is we are where we are today. His value is what it is, and he knows that Newcastle can flog him at any moment for over 100 million. So I think just going back to my feelings on the transfer, I believe that Newcastle knew about this at the beginning of the window. And the telltale sign for me was how aggressively you were going after a quote-unquote second striker. The quality of that striker that you were looking for generally has not been a person that will be satisfied to play second fiddle. In the background is this disorganization around the management as well, which fans at this stage of the window have got to be very concerned about. Right, just the lack of urgency to get the CEO in place, some of the decision making. You're getting a feeling that Eddie Howe is a little bit frustrated. So I think with all this context around, I think there's a possibility that they knew about this before Eddie Howe started taking actions to leave Isak out of certain sessions, etc. Weeks ago, they've been looking for a replacement. And it's just now all coming to a head. So I don't think he's just rushed this on the club. I think the signs were there before that this was coming. And my question is really about board level, executive level at Newcastle, messages and signals they're sending to fans, to players, and just how, the proactivity is just not there. So a long story short, I think he's going. I think he needs to be paid. I don't think Newcastle is going to pay him right now. I don't understand why not. I think fans ought to be questioning that. So that's a very long response to your question. But those are just my raw thoughts of what I've been observing in the last couple of days.
No, it's comprehensive. I mean, what's your thoughts, Mitch, in terms of the leadership and do you think, we've always known about this, that we've known that there's been interest, but have we known that his head's turned to this level where he's ready to protest and maybe things were being promised to him? Do you think that the whole story around Ekatike being a second striker was just that, a story, but he was a replacement? The only thing I'd say, I'll come back to it, but go on, Mitch. I don't know what your kind of thoughts on that, in terms of that. Should Newcastle have accepted it earlier, and what's the situation?
If his head was turned, we would have known before the window would have opened, and I think we would have been then more tempted to gamble a little bit more money on players, because if we're knowing we're selling Isak for 130 or whatever it might be, that leaves us a lot of PSR leeway, because everybody's led to believe that we could potentially spend between 150, 200, maybe a little bit more without selling Isak. So we wouldn't be haggling over 5 million here and 10 million there if we knew our main man was leaving, and then potentially missing out on our top targets over quite small amounts of money when in the context of things, especially when you're trying to not replacing Isak, but build around losing an Isak. So I don't think if his head has been turned to that point, we knew about it that long ago. I genuinely don't feel like his head's been massively turned. He might want to see what other clubs have got to offer. But yeah, I'm still relatively calm about the situation. I still believe when the window shuts, Isak will be a Newcastle player.
Wow.
That's a bold statement.
That's a bold. I'll give it to you, Mitch. My only thing is, and this was going to follow up, probably it's more relevant to, well, it's relevant to both, but maybe a lot more to Bobby because of what Bobby said around, it's questionable us, looking for a second striker. It's like a guys really we're looking for a replacement. Say Liverpool, because it's Liverpool, because obviously we looked for a number of strikers. It started off with Delap. I know people keep on saying that Ekitike is the number one target. Everyone seems to forget about Delap, then they forget about João Pedro. It's always convenient to do these things. And now it's Ekitike. My question, Bobby, is that in Ekitike's case, for instance, say Liverpool know that Isak's head's been turned, Isak has told Newcastle's head's been turned. Why are they just kind of being essentially what people say bullies and just saying we're going to take Ekitike and Isak? Because my question is, if they want Isak that badly, Newcastle go get Ekitike and then you go make your formal for Isak, or is it too much of a risk where if in that process Newcastle have two strikers they want, they have even less reason to sell him essentially? Like, what's your thoughts around that? Like, because obviously you don't think that Ekitike was kind of like a second striker who was always meant to be the replacement.
Yeah, the only caution I want to add to my comment is, so Newcastle was going after these second strikers, quote unquote, but then you're lowballing some of these figures as though you don't intend to actually close the deal. And that's where I get a little bit confused. That's where my narrative falls apart, if you like. Were they serious about Ekitike? Yes, but then you would have bid more, right? I think the effort that's being made to finally close the targets that you're going after is a little bit weak, right? And that's where I pause a little bit. Delap, Pedro, these are the starting strikers for Chelsea. So it would not be surprising if Newcastle had the same idea for them. I don't necessarily see them as second strikers given where they've ended up. So look, I think I don't know if I'm answering your question specifically, but I just feel as though he knew he was going. These second strikers were being lined up. I don't like the effort that I saw to try to get them. But if I'm a Newcastle fan, I kind of also am happy that you've not gotten any strikers so far, because I believe that prices in the market are going to start to come down as we get closer to the end of the window. So like you, Mitch, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. Not because I am hopeful for you guys that he stays, but more that I think the outcome of him leaving and your ability to reinvest that money is actually going to put Newcastle in a stronger position than if you went into the Champions League next year with Isak. And I say that purely because of his injury record.
Yeah, I would like to follow up on one thing you said. Yeah. I've always sort of had two views on the window. I thought we'd either light it up as soon as July 1st hit, or we would do similar to what Bobby was just saying there, is we would let everybody else do what we're doing and then pretty much have an unopposed run at whoever we wanted come the end of the window, depending on who the targets were. Because all the clubs are doing loads of business. So come them last few, like the last month, 3 weeks, 2 weeks of the window, we're going to have other targets on our list and no one's really going to have any more leeway to spend out. And we're going to have it, whether we sell Isak or not, that leeway is going to be there. So like the prices aren't going to be driven up by anybody. The price is going to be what the price is at the time we turn up to the table.
Yeah, and before I get to the comments, I'll just add to what you're both saying in terms of Newcastle's pursuit of players. I think this year, because it kind of, and Bobby will notice, like we were talking about how I think the Club World Cup has pushed prices right up, and so that period of what you're talking about, Mitch, in terms of when the prices were going to drop, is delayed a little bit. I don't know if you remember, Bobby. I don't know if today or maybe yesterday or the day before, we was talking about how Sesko's online was talking about how Sesko's like RB Leipzig were dropping
Price is
the
dropping.
prices dropping
Yeah.
for him. Something also, I think something also related to Chelsea. I can't remember who it was, and we're like, okay, so it's beginning to dip. And I thought, okay, then you're going to start seeing Newcastle picking up, because there's going to be teams with players available. So, that's what Newcastle were going to start acting. However, Mr. Isak decided, this is a great time to tell everybody I want to leave. So that's kind of thrown a monkey in the wrench, if that makes sense. And in terms of like why, there's also reality that Newcastle have got to accept. In terms of the players that we've all pursued, we've all missed out to much bigger teams. Typically, it's not like we've lost out to, and again, due respect to Nottingham Forest and Brentford for different players, it's always been to Real Madrid, to Chelsea's, and others that when Liverpool was in terms of Ekatike that we've lost out to, and we've actually moved on quite quickly for these targets. Whereas if you saw us last season, Bobby, we chased like Gahey for 2 months,
The whole
like
window.
a whole window. Like we didn't go anywhere else, just Gahey. So it's a bit different. It's different, unsuccessful, but different is what I'll
But
say
no,
to.
hold it. But the question is it unsuccessful? Because I don't think the first bids were serious at all. They're too low. You see what I'm saying? It's this kind of make a bid, we don't get it, move on. Make a bid, we don't get it, move on. You're not trying to settle on or haggle to your point. It's almost like if we don't get it at price, that's okay. We go to the next. So it's been a really interesting strategy, and it has left Newcastle, I think, with a lot of dry powder to do some buying when the prices start falling. So I see. I'm optimistic from that perspective.
Yeah.
But
You
then
said that.
there's an underlying kind of lethargy. I wouldn't go as far as saying incompetence, but just a little bit of disorganization
Yeah.
that I'm hearing from the fan channels. That's now clear to the supporters. That makes me a little bit worried and starting to second
Well,
guess whether or not it is tactical.
well, to an extent, I am going to go to the comments now, but just to say, Bobby, it's not just you. I think Eddie Howe and Mitchell noticed. We've watched there was an interview of Eddie Howe when he was in Austria. One of the first things he said was 2 days into his holiday, he finds out Mr. Mitchell wants to leave or is leaving. So he cuts his holiday short. And he did say there's a lot of work, a lot of responsibility that has been left that he's had to pick up. So
that shakes your confidence a little bit. Yeah.
That shakes your confidence a little bit. The manager's like, and this again, this defies what everybody's been saying, that Eddie Howe's been doing some kind of dark arts Machiavelli against Paul Mitchell to get him out. He wasn't expecting this. Like the first thing he says is that guy left 2 days into the transfer window. That's like a surgeon in the middle of a heart surgery saying,
Yeah.
you know what, today's up. The jig is up, and he just needs to do the rest. So anyway, so we've got a few more. We've got tons of comments. I'll try to get through as many as possible. Warbojog, non-negotiable at the start of the window to give him and the club enough time to navigate this existing the best way for both him and the club. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. We have to have time if we're going to get a replacement. Lee, good to see you. God bless you. Hi, buddy. How's you? What a day it's been. I'm telling you, it's been a whirlwind. Oliver, NUFC's biggest mess in the Premier League. Follows up Isak. The first others will follow. Well, we're about to give. Didn't I hear? Is Livermento about to accept a new contract offer, or are we offering him a new contract?
I think it is close. Yeah.
Yeah, he's about to accept that. That'll be some.
Now you've mentioned Livermento.
Yeah,
that is another story that just doesn't make me think this is even a goer, because City rock up and go 65. We turn around and go add another 100, and we'll think about it. What, we're going to sell Isak from less than what we quoted Livermento?
Livermento's on the plane though.
Yeah, no, I get
Do
that.
you know, that's the only thing I would say. Like, it's Isak. The only reason that this is all kicked up a fuss is because Mr. Isak refused to go on the plane. Do you get what I
Okay,
mean?
I'm gonna come across as a proper conspiracy theorist here,
All
but
right.
this is like, I know quite a few physios because over the years I've had so many injuries and stuff like that, and I spoke to a guy earlier and asked him of reasons behind some injuries might fly and some injuries might not. So he said to me that if Isak's injury has anything to do with swelling around an area, he would be advised not to fly due to the altitude making it even worse and the potential for more injury.
But
Mitch,
Mitch,
he's gone.
he's come out and he's like,
Mitch, he's gone.
Mitch,
No,
Okay.
someone's coming. No,
Mitch, he said I want to leave.
we'll
Mitch,
see.
he's gone.
I'm
He's
still
gone,
pretty
brother.
confident that come the close of the window,
So
he'll still be here.
who's telling Ornstein? Who's telling Fabrizio Romano? Who's telling like Keith Downey, our own correspondent, and Douglas? Even we read the article from Douglas saying this guy does not want to negotiate. He wants to. The first sentence Douglas says is Isak wants to leave. Like it
But then
says
he
no.
follows it up with a direct quote of Newcastle saying they're not going to sell this window. He starts it with what looks like an opinion and then follows it up with a direct quote.
No. It's not an opinion.
Counteracts it straight. There's nothing. There is no. I have not seen anything that has said quoted of anything that's been said. Otherwise, they've been fed a bit of information and they've ran with it.
Mitch, this is going to hit you hard, you know. If you're not,
It's not. Either way, it's not going to hit me hard. I just don't believe the narrative that's been painted.
All right, fair play. Aaron Kane, we are a mess behind the scenes. This should have been sorted out at the start of the window. Club is a disgrace from the boardroom and have been for a few years now.
That's what worries me.
Where I disagree, if in terms of boardroom stuff, like there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on, and I'm not going to end up not reading all the comments. I'm going to give 2 minutes to the comments, but in terms of we're not culpable for Dan Ashworth betraying the club and going to Man United, talking to Man United whilst he's in post, going to Man United saying, yeah, I'm gonna go, leave and betray our club. We're not culpable for that. We're not culpable for Paul Mitchell leaving 2 days into a transfer window. That's insane. Like, we're not culpable for that stuff. We're not culpable when, and God bless her, Amanda Staveley, doing a whole documentary celebrating how she got one over Everton for the incredible negotiations for Anthony Gordon, because that got every other club's antennas up saying, is that how Newcastle going to do us? We're not culpable for that kind of stuff. Like, well, yeah, we're culpable for that one, actually. That's what they've done there. But like everything that's followed up from that in terms of, now you're right, Aaron, I walked myself into a hole there. But there's things that we are culpable for, and there's stuff that we're not culpable for. I agree with Bobby Fairview and others where I think Piff literally have to, like, I think, and I know Mr. Asiasa might not have time to do this, but he literally has to sit down in Benton or at St. James's Park, create an office for himself there and stay at Newcastle for a year and make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think that might have to happen. Michael NUFC, I don't think the fan base will accept the utter disrespect and lack of loyalty he has snubbed. We backed him and came off the back of our best season in 70 plus years. What's your thoughts on that? Let me ask Bobby. I'll go to Mitch in a moment. Let me ask Bobby. Do you think Isak has disrespected the club and showed lack of loyalty?
I think that's where my objectivity could help, right? I mean, I just take a market view of this. If you believe that you are PSR constrained, Newcastle cannot afford Isak right now. And just as a practical matter, I would have been coming to the end of last season if I were a Newcastle fan and saying, look, he's just contributed to a major trophy, the first in 70 years or however long it was. from a club perspective, this might actually be the time to cash in on him. So I think from a valuation perspective, given the development of your club and your balance sheet, this actually is the peak time to sell this asset from a club perspective. And then from an Isak perspective, he needs to get paid. He's 25 now, so he's approaching his prime. He needs to get paid. So as a practical matter, because I'm not a fan, I can stand back and say, look, I think this is the best outcome for him and for the club. Fans are not going to get that, right? But I don't look at it as betrayal at all. I just see it as natural market forces doing what they're supposed to do. And I actually think that it's an opportunity for the club to restructure its balance sheet and invest in 2 or 3 players now that could really help you push on next season.
That's a proper objective. I want to add Chelsea dancer. He's an asset. He didn't even say play. Bobby, you don't even say player, you say asset.
That's what we do, asset farming over here, my friend.
That's the first. You don't even say the word player, like asset. Anyway, but Veta Games, good to see you, sir. God bless you. Big support of the channel, but also incredible football content creators supporting Man City, our allies, our natural allies against the PSR guys and the Prem. Large up Toon, I hate how the current PSR has made the next challenging club vulnerable to secure current and future high level talent. Ooh. Let me go scroll down a little bit because I want to start talking about the future and possible players to take over. Davey Eddie, good to see you, sir. God bless you. Keep your guys, do remember to like, share, and subscribe. Keep your comments in. We've got 49 people in the chat. I can't see how many. I don't know why I can't. I never see how many views. How many? Can you guys see how many likes we've got? I can't see how many likes we've got. No. But we typically get between 20 to 30. If we can break 30 today, that would be absolutely incredible, guys. So hit those likes, guys. Hit those likes. Davey Eddie, it was said last season there would come a time when we had to sell one of our blue chip players. Yeah, they did say that. I don't think they were expecting it. Funny enough, I don't expect it this time. Regarding PSR, we love Isak, but it would really push on maybe 3 signings: Wissa, Sesko, and Gehi. I still think, and I agree with this, Davey, in terms of like, there's still time to turn our frowns into a smile. By the end of the season, let's see what happens. This could, Mitch, what do you think in terms of if the players are going to be right now in Singapore? They would have landed and been listening to this. What do you think? Do you think this could either break the club and like people will stop break the club, but break like morale and everything else? I think someone mentioned it, and others will follow. Or could it be something that galvanizes the players? I think, like for instance, in terms of Bruno Gomes and Joe Linton, I think they're going to do well up for it, like in terms of just galvanizing the club. But what's your kind of feeling about it?
I think we've got enough players that would turn it, wouldn't let it like affect the team in that much of a negative way. Obviously, it's going to affect us if he leaves talent-wise. But I don't think it will be something that sort of breaks the whole team apart. Like you've mentioned, Bruno and Jolin, and I reckon Tonali potentially falls into that bracket. There'll be other players that will then step up because it'll be their time to shine. I don't think it will be one of them that they'll all look and think, well, he's gone, I'm going now. This is the end of everything.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got any players that will look at it from that perspective, to be honest. Because if you look at our whole squad, if you look as much as sort of like Bruno's the focal point. He's the captain. He leads everything. Isak is really the only real star we've got that would get into pretty much any team in the world. So I don't think there's any other players that would be of a level to just turn around and go, right, I'm leaving because he's left.
We've got them right here. Isak, Joe Linton, show them who you are. I love that. All right, so a few more comments, and I'm gonna get you guys take on Mr. Benjamin Sesko, who we're gonna talk about in a moment as well. A few more comments there. I think there might be something relevant for Mr. Fairview. I'm gonna say Nico Yan Senzi. Apologies if I got your name wrong. But God bless you. I think it's my first time seeing you on the show. If you've been here before, my apologies, but great to have you. And thank you for the comment. Him, and this is what you say, him wanting to earn more and win is not the issue. But him waiting until the team fly out for pre-season to leak to the media is disgraceful. But anyone who wants him has to meet our valuation still. What's your view on that, Bobby? Do you think it's how he's acted is a disgrace? The timing of it and everything?
To one of Mitch's earlier points about quotes and direct comments, I'm actually not sure this leak is from Isak. I think it might be from Newcastle.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle needs to let the fans know that he wants to leave. And they're actually going to try to release the information in such a way that he looks like a bit of the snake, and the anger is turned at him to some extent. We do this to players at Chelsea all the time.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to say. That's what Chelsea do. That's what Chelsea do.
These briefings are classic blue coal slander to make the player look like the bad guy. Okay, so I don't take it seriously at all. Look, I don't think Isak to me has been very respectful. He's been dancing around the issue. You saw the agent lightly introduce it last week in a very respectful way. Eddie Howe came out and said that he's who made the decision to pull him out of the first set of preseason games, etc. So yeah, I mean, I think he's been a good soldier, and I think people should give him a good send off and take that check.
Well, guys, let us know in the chat. Do you think it was Newcastle that leaked this information to put a little bit of it's not quite slander what Bobby's saying, but a little bit of negativity around Isak, that it's really him being the bad guy? For me personally, my initial reaction is not really the Newcastle way. Like, in terms of doing that, I don't even think we're not that even Machiavellian like. In fact, we're probably a bit.
You're the big leagues now, my friend.
We're learning. We are certainly learning that. That's for sure.
Welcome to these night fights.
Absolutely. Bob Mark, I think you're a Liverpool fan, and you say, "Hi there, lads. Enjoying the show. What name should I get on my shirt next season? Isak or Wirtz? It's a really tough decision." Me personally, I would never put another man's name on my shirt. But it's up to you, Mark. Ian McKenna, Isak, I can't believe it. And you know what? Neither can Mitch, I don't think. I
can believe it, but I just don't. I think that's the difference between the two of us here.
Do you know what? If you prove to be right, these are you can take the clips from the show, Mitch.
This is going to be the most. If I'm right, it's going to be the most epic "I've told you so" you're ever going to see.
Exactly.
Someone said earlier that I'm Newcastle Stefan. For a couple of weeks, I will be Newcastle Stefan if this turns into an "I told you so" moment.
Couple more chats and we'll get on to Mr. Sesko. Jam Stasher, the Chelsea supporter panelist, is so right. Newcastle need to sell hotels, stadiums, and hair salons to themselves and buy 7 to. Do you know what? And I'm not going to name because I really like them, but I know Bobby will find this interesting. When it was there was a certain show I was watching today, and when it was put to them, say Newcastle sell Isak to Al Hilal for 150 million, and they loan him back to Newcastle. What do you think about that? And it's a high-profile person that said that would be essentially said that it would be an absolute disgrace, and it's something the Premier League shouldn't allow.
That's mad. That's going on already. We're doing it with Strasbourg. But look, I want to make a quick comment to that Newcastle fan. Huh? They're going to be, walking around crying, for the next couple of weeks when they get Isak, but they need to really think about whether or not they can keep all these players happy and keep them firing on all cylinders, because they have just, I think, created a problem for Slot. And that's something that's a separate conversation, a different conversation that we will listen to.
You're talking about Liverpool?
Liverpool? Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
I think I think there's a question of too many cooks in the kitchen at this point. And we see whenever Real Madrid go down this Galactico route, you know what happens? They fall off. It just doesn't work. So I think they're doing a bit too much. Pressure is going to be on Slot next year. It can be really peak for Liverpool. So they should really, be a little bit more measured as they're boasting about these transfers.
Yeah, I do tend to agree with that with Liverpool, because their front line looks a little bit imbalanced. If it looks scary if you can make it work, but it is a little bit imbalanced when you put Isak into it, because Ekitike likes to play central, so does Isak, and they've already just spent 120 odd million pound on a number 10. So you don't really tend to see any team play with two front men and a 10 all at the same time.
Exactly right.
But Mark responds to that and says, pressure? We have Isak. He loves pressure. Well, you don't have Isak. You have the idea of Isak, but but I get what you're saying. We'll find out. All right. So who is Mr. We'll go on to Mr. Benjamin Sesko. Now, Benjamin Sesko has been reported in the news as one of the people. Let me make sure I got the news. As one of the potential candidates to replace Mr. Alexander Isak. Tell me I bookmarked it. Hope I did. And I didn't. But I do have some stats on Mr. Sesko that will hopefully get all right. Latest. Okay, yeah, it's even on Sky News now. Brilliant. So, you know what I nearly did? I nearly got myself out of the program. That would have been good. All right, so let me share my screen. Where are you? Share. All right. So Sky News even reported it now. So we're at that stage in terms of Mr. Sesko. We've probably put ourselves up there. But as is read, and I think Ornstein have both said it, and Ben Jacobs has said it, Fabrizio Romano has been all over it. Newcastle are interested in signing RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko if Alexander leaves the club. And I think I want to get one from Mr. Romano as well, because he's been the most vocal about Mr. Benjamin Sesko. Got Eucharist there. Come on, hurry up. Give me Sesko. Where are you? Sesko. That Douglas Luiz has been coming up as well. Here we go. And he says, I actually followed up with another one here, but he says here, Fabrizio Romano, understand Newcastle are attentive to Benjamin Sesko's situation at RB Leipzig, with Isak now keen on exit. NUFC informed that Sesko's deal could cost while working on multiple deals, including Wissa from Brentford. And obviously, that deal seems to be progressing. And what's this? I mean, I'm not up to this, like, all these little tabs. I don't know, Mitch, do you know what this means? He's put black and white, this arrow pointing right upwards and curving downwards and a tick. What's he saying here? Can anybody let me know? Because I'm old.
I think it looks like he's saying 1 in, 1 out, done, Newcastle, which is a bit mad. But it's another cryptic way of getting clicks, isn't it? It's just like, look, try and make sense of this. Click on my page.
Okay. See, I've been schooled. You're never too old to learn. All right, so let's. I mean, just from initial point of view, Bobby. Before I go to Mitch, I'll go to Bobby. Do you know much about Sesko yourself? I don't know if you have a kind of an overall perspective on him. That's a deep sigh, Bobby. You can't start like
that. I'm not really big on kids leading the line in a Champions League campaign, so this certainly would not be a player I would necessarily be looking at for Newcastle, given what you were trying to do this year. But just looking at his profile, his stats, etc. I'd be interested to know how many headed goals he has. And I know a lot of the websites don't publish that information. But I think depending on who you get in the 10, because, and you and I have been having this discussion pretty openly on Twitter,
Yeah.
where I think there is a bit of creativity that you're missing just in that spot that Joel Linton
Yes.
occupies. Yeah. And to me, whether you get him or not, Sesko or not, I see that he wins most of his aerial duels, so he's probably pretty good at heading the ball. He could be an interesting target if you were to pair him with like an Nkuku. I like that idea. So to me, the answer is dependent on who you're going to pair him with. But I would prefer Guirassy as a target for Newcastle going into the next campaign.
So slightly older, a little bit more experienced type of thing.
Yeah, because I take a different view on the Newcastle project than you, Philip, in that I think what you like is the idea of you know that you have an established first 11, so you're trying to build your younger resources now to support them and come from build a pipeline, if you like. I prefer a more aggressive approach where you establish yourself as a quarterfinalist in the Champions League every year. That sets up a base of revenue of around 50 to 60 million pounds. Then that supports higher wages and better quality talent and being able to repay an Isak 300K a week. Like, you can't do that unless you are a quarter finalist every year, right? And to me, the kids are going to take way too long for you to get into that position. I think you need to bite the bullet, make the investment, establish yourself with experienced players first, and then build out the bench and the farm, if you like.
You don't see a balance maybe with us getting both Sesko and Wissa, who's 28, 29 years old, between age
That
and...
is a good balance, right? So whoever's going to play around him would need to be clinical, because I don't think he's particularly clinical either. And this is why a Wissa would be good. I like Nkuku, who you've been linked with. I think that'll be a good pairing.
Okay. Folks, we've got about 58 people in the last time I saw. I think, is it you, Mitch, that said there's 25 likes? Guys, let's see if we can break that 30 barrier. At least
up to
more
29 now.
Oh, okay. Let's go to 40 then. We're never satisfied on the Toon Tactics TV show. So let me have just a brief look in terms of his stats as of recent. What is impressive about him is that I can't remember what I read it last time, because I was comparing him with Gyökeres. I was having a debate with an Arsenal fan about who's better, Gyökeres or Sesko for their setup. But and they kept on saying that Sesko is a project player, which I understand. I understand what people are saying, but I think the term of what project player is changing, because I think Sesko's played about 200 games, senior games now, and has scored nearly 100 goals. So is that a project player? I don't know. But season 24-25, he has got what's he got here? So he's got
13 goals, same amount as Jackson.
Yes, he's got 13 goals in the Bundesliga. Overall, he's got 21 goals in all competitions, including Champions League and the DFB Pokal, with 6 assists. So 27 goal contributions, 18 goal contribution if you're just looking at the Bundesliga. And that is in the RB Leipzig squad that has also failed to qualify for the Champions League for the first time in a long time. So the squad hasn't really been performing either. That's not to say that Sesko is, would you say, immune from that criticism, but it kind of adds to the context of where his season has been. In 23-24, very similar stats in terms of he's got 18 goals and 2 assists overall, with 14 goals and 2 assists in the Bundesliga itself, 2 goals in the Champions League, 2 goals in the TFB Pokal? Is that their version of FA Cup?
That's their cup, yeah. That's their FA Cup.
Okay. So he's 22 now, so he would have been 21. And it goes back to Bobby's point around age. I'm going to stick to, Austrian Bundesliga, a little bit different there. But so what's your initial take on terms of like the stats and the goals for him so much, and kind of in context of what Bobby has said around youth and inexperience, and what's your kind of view on Sesko?
I really like Sesko. I like the profile. I like the player. I like his style. I think he is someone that, if Isak does leave, would be perfect to be the player to step in. Yeah, he's not ready-made. He's not anywhere near the same level as Isak is currently, but I think he's above the level Isak was when we brought him in at a similar age. And I think Eddie Howe could do a very similar job with him and move him through the gears and get him to a very special level like he has done with Alexander Isak. So if that was the move and we also got a Wissa, maybe one other more attacking 8 that could do a little bit of the Joe Linton role and is a little bit more creative, I actually think it kind of slightly upgrades us as a team if that's the route we're going to go down. But yeah, I really like him. I think he's going to become a fantastic player.
Yeah, because they've been talking about either Whistle or Lewis Openda as well. I don't know too much about Lewis Openda. Like, obviously, I've heard good things, I've heard bad things. I don't know if either Mitch or Bobby, if you guys know a little bit more about him.
I can't say I've seen much of him at all, to be honest.
I don't know him. I didn't hear the name until today.
Yeah, because okay, so I think he's kind of seen the alternative to Wissa, whereas Benjamin obviously is the replacement for Isak, hopefully. So these are the FB ref stats for Sesko over the last year. How many minutes has he done? He has done 2,900 minutes across all.
Started 30 games. That's not bad.
Yeah, he started 30 games. Yeah, exactly. He started 30 games. He's been available. He's fit. He's in the 75 percentile for goals, which isn't bad-ish. But like I said, I think even Bobby's pointed out that it's not 20 goals, is it? but he is
outperforming his expected goals.
Say that again. Sorry, he's
outperforming his expected goals, which is always a good sign.
Yeah. Especially when, and I was going to show there's a heat map for him here on the FB ref. I'll flick back to it. If you see right, so it's from for the guys that are watching, it's from left to right. So if you see right here towards where the opposition penalty box is the heat map is fairly low, and I think that's because of how RB Leipzig have been. So he's kind of, for me, it's kind of indicates maybe he's not necessarily feeding off scrap, but I think they've got a really low chance creation. RB Leipzig, I'm trying to remember what I said to the Arsenal fan, but he's been really
which is troubling for me because we were about to buy Xavi Simons, who should have been creating for this fella.
Right. And so he's been spending a lot of time in this, not final third, what do you call it? Middle, like just middle part of the pitch here, especially to the left, in the center areas, a little bit to the right. But at least he's been there linking up play, even though his link up stats aren't the highest. So I just wanted to kind of mention that. But 75 percentile for goals, progressive carries, 77 percentile, not as high as an Isak or an Ekitike in terms of progressive carries, but it's still pretty good for someone that's like, how tall is he again? I think he's massive, and he's like 6 foot. Yeah, he's 6'4.5", 77 kg. I think he must be a little bit heavier than that. What's interesting though, and maybe Bobby, this might be something for you. His current wage is over 100k. So it's 108k weekly euros. So that's what, 100k pounds, 100 sterling?
Not that little. You said 180?
No, 100. His euros is 108, but would that be in sterling?
About 108. 108. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder what we'll be saying to him in the contract negotiations because, geez, I don't think we'll have, well, Bruno Gomes is our highest earner at the moment at 160. I don't know what Benjamin Sesko was demanding from Arsenal, for instance, because it made Arsenal bulk a little bit. So goals, penalty kicks made 77 percentile, kicks, penalty kicks attempted 70 percentile. I don't know how many kicks is missing. Goals minus XG, so minus expected goals. He's in the 83 percentile. So he's, like you said, Bobby, he is outperforming by 0.11, which isn't too high. It isn't too high. It's not too bad. So, like, I feel like if he was like 0.3, 0.4 higher, it would almost kind of say, is this like an anomaly of a season type of thing? If that makes sense. Like, is he going to be a bit like he's not really that guy kind of thing? Passes completed in the 76th percentile, attempted 78th percentile, so not too far, which is not too bad. Passing to the final third, 38th percentile. So he's definitely not a creator type like your Ekatiké's and your Isaks. Kind of, he's far more a traditional type of striker. Shots take on actions, so successful take ons that led to a shot attempt, 88th percentile. I don't think that's bad. I think that's pretty good. If when he gets the ball and he's driving at defenders, he at least gets the shot off. That's not too bad. Hold on, did I miss the shot part? Because I wanted to because I think Bobby, you mentioned around his shot conversion. Where is it? Passing. Shooting goals, 75 percentile. Shots on target, 81 percentile. I feel like 5 to 8% higher. I'll be a little bit more satisfied with that. I think I take on Bobby's. It's not quite conversion rate, but target. I'd want it to be a little bit higher, but it's still.
To be fair, if you look at his heat map, if we're then playing him closer to the goal, that instantly goes up.
Yeah, exactly. Possessions got 3 green bars here, but touches in the middle third, 90 percentile. We saw that from his heat map as well. Defensive third, 81 percentile. So he does do his defensive shift. Take-ons attempted, 83. Successful take-ons. So his successful take-ons are far more higher than his, not far more, but a little bit more higher than his take-ons. His take-ons attempted, which is positive. So his take-on success rate is at 92%. So he might be tall, but
I was actually about to ask Mitch, how is his ball handling and his pace from what you've seen?
From what I've seen, he's pretty quick. He's not like silly rapid. I think he's a similar-ish pace to Isak, I would say. So he's one of them players that you'd look at and you think he was quick, but he's not like Elanga quick, which is just frightening to anybody.
And the ball sticks to Isak and he dribbles quite well. Is Sesko the same?
I would say he's more of a powerful dribbler, whereas Isak's more silky with it. So instead of Isak will try and beat players with a trick and could beat 3 or 4 in a small space, I think Sesko more relies on singling players out and getting that little bit like what Delap does when he's driving with the ball. Once he's got sort of half a yard, quarter of a yard on you, you're not getting the ball off him because he's too strong.
Got it. And I don't like Delap, so okay. But okay, fair.
So he's in the 92 percentile for that. Tackle during take-on percentage, 84 percentile. So total carry distance, 80 percentile. So he's not too bad. I'll ask you guys in a moment. So we've got an option because I wanted to show a quick video highlight. I can either show like a typical video highlight, or there's a video highlight of his last 80 shots. And we're not look at all his 80 shots, but at least the first 5 or so, whatever. Do you guys want to see that one? I don't know if you guys in the chat, let me know. Do you want to see his last, what does it say? What do they call it?
They normally do last 20, don't they?
So how clinical is Benjamin Sesko? Last 80 shots.
Oh, 80, right.
Yeah, we're not going to look at all 80, but maybe like a minute or so. Probably carry 30 seconds or so. Do you guys want to see that? Because I think that might be a little bit of an eye-opener of what we can expect.
Can do. They do. I watched one of Ekatike the other day and it was horrific. It was horrific.
But this is the part where we do expect. Aerials 1, 96%.
Actually, before we should, I have a question for you as well, Philip.
Yes, sir.
A number of your colleagues on the terrace, etc., passionately dislike this guy as a signing.
Yes.
Do you know why? Have you gotten an understanding of why people feel so strongly against him? Because I would like to then compare that to the video that we were about to see.
Okay, so it depends who you ask. And so when we first heard about Sesko, it was in comparison to Eucharist. And so, when people are having debates and typically arguments, we take the extreme side rather than be balanced. So it's always either Eucharist is garbage or Sesko is garbage. Sesko reminds me of Nunez. because he's tall and he's lanky, rather than kind of having a discussion about strengths, weaknesses, objective discussions. It's about trying to prove who's the better and who Arsenal should go for. And it's always in the context of if Arsenal get Sesko, they're never going to win the league. They're just project players. Da, 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 da. But if they get Eucharist, why would you want Eucharist? He plays is not in a rubbish league. His numbers are inflated. So it's never really a balanced debate. It's only now that you can kind of see, if you listen to people now, that everybody knows that Eucharist is going to Arsenal, that people are now getting a little bit more balanced on Mr. Sesko. Now they're talking about Sesko. So it depends on who you ask, type of thing. I've always liked Sesko a little bit more because I'm not convinced by the Portuguese league. The fact that Opta analysts won't even do their metrics because they're just not a great league said a lot to me. That put me off it. So I've kind of maintained that kind of thing. Right. So let me just quickly, before I get to the highlights of the 80 shots of, should I go to the 80 shots? Let me compare him to, should I do the 80 shots first and then go to comparisons with Isak? Would you guys? I'll leave it to you guys. Do you want to see the 80 shots?
Let's see some of these shots first. Let's
see some of these shots and see what the folks are saying. All right, so share this one instead. Whoa, don't ban me. Please don't ban me, YouTube. All right, so this is the first one. I'll do about up to a minute. So I don't know, that'll probably cover, what's quarter of 80, 20? Let's see where we get here. Can you guys see?
I've still got you guys on the screen at the minute.
Oh gosh, thank you for telling me. I was about to play it. All right, excelente. Here we go.
Good, yep.
So that's Sesko. You can see at the front, guys, for those that are watching, he's on the ball right now with the three defenders in front of him. And it's interesting because we've been talking about Mr. Sesko's ball carrying. All right, so let's see what we've got here. Whoops, skip past one. Shot off. Whoa, that's not bad. Let me just see that quickly.
Great start.
Great start there. Past one. Let's loose from outside the box. Pretty clinical there. First touch. Got blocked off there. Dragged it wide. First touch. Boom. Takes it on. Second touch. Second touch there. What do you think about his first touch so far? Well, that went into the stands. 1-on-1. Uh-oh.
That's a weak shot, man.
Weak shot there. Again, 1-on-1. Turn. Drags it wide a little bit there. It's first take. Tries it. Okay. Keep off his line. He doesn't take too long, though. Like his first touch and go with him, innit?
He's very much Jermaine Defoe when it comes to shooting, isn't he? If he's first in and around the box, he's taking a touch and having a shot.
I would have almost like Harden, like touch there outside the box again, takes on the defender, blocked off. First touch, good movement. Keeper out quick. Let me see how he does here. One more and he got.
Oh, nice.
So he's got it in his locker. Let me see that again. He drags it past the keeper. That was a bit like Isak-esque there.
It was very Isak-esque.
Past the keeper. All right.
Tidy.
One more. I keep on saying one more. He's not afraid to hit outside the box, though. That's a goal there. Left foot. Wide. Left foot. Is he left-footed?
No, he's right-footed.
Right-footed.
But clearly ambidextrous.
He keeps on taking it with his left here. Is he
anyway? If he's got, it looks like if he's got a sight of goal, he's having a shot regardless of where it is.
He's right-footed on. I didn't see that.
That one was a screamer.
Let me go back. Sorry, I missed that one. I was looking at those. Is he right-footed?
That was the best of the lot. And that was off the right foot as well.
Is it here?
Just before this one. No, it's before. Oh, is it this? Is it this one or was it just before, Bobby? It's this one, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
So he's got a shot on him. I thought his shot was weak, but he looks crisp. Yep.
Jeez.
That's a tightrope.
First touch, better. Again, take on. Ooh. First touch.
For any Newcastle fans that panic watching stuff like this when it doesn't go well for the player, I would advise you to watch Isak's most recent one, because it was because I watched Ekatike's and I thought, let me see if Isak's got one, and it was just as bad.
He is ambidextrous though. You're right. He's left or right. First shot. Do you know what? He's very he don't wait around at all.
And do you need some hold-up play?
Yes. Yes.
Because I'm not seeing any of that.
It's only shots. It's only shots.
I think that's potentially could be what Wissa's all about though, because his hold-up plays.
But remember, this is only compilations of his last shots, so it's focused on that rather than like any other aspects of his game.
Right.
Right. So, what's your thoughts on that so far, gentlemen? Like, what's your initial reactions to that, Mitch? And I'll go to Bobby.
I like how he doesn't play about when he gets a sight of goal. Some of them were a little bit like on a bit of a hope and a prayer when he's 30 yards out and he's trying to shoot through 3 or 4 players. But I do like that when he's in and around the box, he just takes his touch and tries to get a shot off. On the even foot as well.
Yeah, I think so too. Bobby, what's your kind of initial take in terms of his approach? Kind of this is the compilations of his last 80 shots.
And I think that's why I would want to see a little bit more footage to make sure that he can hold up and connect play. I like that about him as well, because obviously he should, as long as he's using it wisely, because a couple of them were a bit loose and a bit premature. I felt he was snatching at the shot a little bit. But that is a good characteristic. But yeah, I would like to see his ability to retain possession and while other players get into position up front.
Let me see if I can find something a little bit more.
So you think the probability is Wissa to pair with him, yeah?
Either Wissa or Penda.
Got it.
So there's something to pair with him. It was always the plan. Like this, I keep on telling people, like we're gonna get 2 strikers. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like 4-4-2s exist. Like they're real.
But why do you think that Eddie Howe is moving to a 4-4-2?
So we've always played. So literally in the game, you would see us go 5-4-1 in the low block, 4-4-2 like in a general out of possession, 4-3-3 or 3-3-4 in attack. That's just Newcastle generally. And I think we're gonna push even further with that in terms of like more kind of. It'd be interesting to see what midfielder we're gonna get, because the main thing is being able to dismantle low blocks. Like not low blocks, dismantle low blocks, but also deal with mid blocks. That's been a real kind of pain for us. And if you have a target man up front, you just essentially get it over him and then surround him with players. Essentially, that kind of helps with that. That's been the big. So, like for instance, Bournemouth kicked our bottoms. Who else? A number of other teams. Fulham. They just sat in a really good mid block, and that really hurt us. So if we stretch the play, that's why you got your Elangas, your Gordons on the flanks, and obviously Mr. Sesko or whoever the target man is through the center to add that kind of pace, power, versatility to stretch the play.
Apparently, he's 11 from 11 from the penalty spot.
Oh, is he? So why was this? Okay, maybe I've misread the stats then. So let me see. Can you share the screen? Let me see this like more general. This is going to be a more general take. I haven't got to see it, so hopefully it'll give us a little bit more of a view. Let me put this on in terms of Mr. Sesko, and then we'll do a quick comparison with. We're not going to be able to look at the leadership stuff today, even though that's what my thumbnail's about. I'm gonna have to reuse it, guys. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? All right. So Mr. Sesko is going his back to goal. Outside of the boot, pace, power. This is what we're talking about. That stretch of play, Bobby. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, that's not bad. Outside of the foot with the right. Again, take on.
He's not bad. Yeah, he's not bad.
Oh,
that's a lovely finish.
It is. Yeah.
Chip over the keeper. Again, running them behind. Cut back with the left. Shot with the right. Not bad at all.
So although he's a big striker, he relies on skill more than his physique. Is that a fair comment?
It comes across that way. I think, look at that, lovely. And it's always better, like I think, Bobby, if he's got skill and he's not over reliant on his physique, because he's got a bit of both. So if he needs to be brutish, he's got that in his locker, picking up in the middle third there, laying it off to a Pender. So this is again the idea of having Wissa in the back. You've got a big man in the middle to the guy that's running off him. So third man runs. Oh, decent cut back there, some awareness. Was that Simmons that scored that?
Simmons, yeah.
Oh, lovely. Back to goal, past the player with the pace and acceleration to get back. Okay, back to goal again. Not too bad again.
Not bad, yeah. That was a Nicholas Jackson move.
That was about to say that. Ooh.
Nice. He's silkier than I remember last time I had a little look at him, to be fair.
Yeah,
quite
absolutely.
skillful. Yeah.
He looks a lot
First
silkier
touch.
than I remember.
I like his first touch. First touch again. He does not wait around. One more, we'll get him again. It's that running in behind. That's what I was talking about, Bobby, in terms of so when you got someone that runs in behind like this, we've got less of a problem with mid blocks. It just showed that part there, but saw that one. Where is it? Come on. Yeah. No, it's not that one. There was a part where I saw him running in behind. This. It deals with everything for Newcastle when you've got players that can kind of run in behind like that, and you obviously got a Pender here. The idea would be probably a Wissa or whoever, essentially, or Gordon. When you've got a Gordon, Sesko, Elanga, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to deal with. So, gents, what's your initial thoughts on Mr. Sesko?
Between the two videos.
Mitch.
Oh, cool. So between the two videos, I quite like from the first one, as much as some of the shots were on a little bit of a hope and a prayer, there was no glaring ones where it was like, you should have squared that. And then in the second video, you saw moments where there was another option and he did actually play the pass rather than taking the shot. So all in all, he looks like he could become a fantastic player. There's obviously a lot more growth in him. But like I said earlier, if it is Isak out and him in, he's coming in at a similar age to what Isak did, at a better level, I believe, than when Isak first joined. So it's as exciting as it can be losing a player like Alex Isak, if that does happen.
Bobby, you're going to like this question I got for you. He's on 108k in euros, which is about 100k sterling. What do you think his demands are going to be in terms of wages? And do you think Newcastle should meet it, even when it will likely have a ripple effect on? We'll have to probably increase Bruno Guimaraes, Gordon, and everybody else's wages.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's wages are going to have to go up this year anyway, given that you're in the Champions League, right? So I feel like he's going to want to double that with his next move, and I think that'll be fair.
Yeah.
So I'm just picturing the fact that Newcastle would have lost Isak, and if you can close in on this player and Wissa, are you not better off? And
what do you think, Bobby?
Some money in the bank. I think you are. I think you absolutely are. Wissa is a very good player. What I am concerned about is the low ball offers that you've gone in with. I hope there's not another situation where you're not serious about him. I think that's a player that you should go pay the money and lock in. But I think that'll be a good pairing. The only thing I would say is, doesn't Wissa tend to occupy the same spaces that Sesko does?
So from the,
I feel like,
yeah, go on. Sorry,
I'm just thinking about the balance at Brentford, right? So Wissa was always coming in from that left hand side, but you go ahead.
So we did the heat map on him on Tuesday. So he's a little bit more versatile. He can be on the left or the right, but he actually likes to be a lot in the penalty box as well. So it'd be
Who's that?
interesting.
Wissa?
Yeah, Wissa. So
Got it, yeah.
he's very much the kind of the poacher between him and Mbeumo. He's got the quick feet as well. I think exactly to your point, are they going to occupy the same spaces? This is where one thing when you read his scouting report, Wissa's scouting report when he was at Lorient, when he started, and it actually is a common theme when you read other scouting reports, is his tactical flexibility, his tactical intelligence. So I'm taken from that Wissa is going to have to take the initiative and work with Benjamin. If Benjamin takes up the left side, Wissa has to have the brains to take on the right side. If Benjamin drops into midfield to pick up the ball, I expect Wissa to make the runs, and we know that he can do that because his relationship with Mbeumo is famous now in terms of how these guys work together.
Mm-hmm.
So and obviously we saw the same thing with Sesko and Openda. That's the front line for RB Leipzig. So my expectation is that they've got the game intelligence to be able to work together. So we've got tons of likes here, folks. We've got smash the likes from Ginesta. I don't know how many likes we've got now, but guys, I hope we've got more than 40. Tell me we've got more than 40.
We
guys,
are 38 now.
Come on, guys. We can smash the 40. Let's get ourselves up to 50. Let's get the channel out to even more folks as well. We've got a few folks in the channel giving us in the comments saying what they're liking, giving their comments about Mr. Sesko. Ginesta says he knows how to lace it, but other than that, so you're not impressed with his all-round play. You let me know, Ginesta. Good first touch, but damn, I don't know what it means by that, David. Let me know. Ginesta, Sesko doesn't have the finesse on refinish in his locker, in my opinion. Okay, yeah. Interesting there. Cy Robson, he's young and raw. He's not the finished article yet. He'll grow into the quality player. And if there's any coach who you'd want Sesko to be under to see if he can develop into that world-class player, I think it's Mr. Howe. Jam Stasher, this video doesn't do him justice of how he plays with his teammates. He is better passer than Isak. Okay, and is great with his mates. Jam Stasher, have you watched? You sound like you've watched Mr. Sesko play. Let us know your thoughts on him. Like if you've got any more to add to him. Jog, his first touch is great. Yeah, I think so too. He needs coaching to slow down and focus when I agree with that part. I think that's why we saw the one-on-ones. I don't think he maybe scored a couple one-on-ones, but he's missed quite a few of them. He needs coaching to slow down and focus when he is taking a shot. Has good power on it though. Sigh. I know, Robert, you love Sesko just as much as I do. David Barter, Eddie Howe will teach him. I agree. David Page, good to see you. Just use the Isak money to build a team of young, hungry talent. There, I said it. So some of us have accepted where we are. They're like, well, let's move on. I think he takes penalties left-footed. Really? Like, this guy is...
No, he doesn't. I saw that flash up when he posted it, and I asked the question, and he hasn't taken a penalty left-footed ever.
So I'm laughing at Destiny 5. Isak to Spurs. Yeah, let's not do this, man. I was picking you guys up when I heard Rodrigo to Spurs, and then jeez, the laughter I got back. Matt Lou, good to see you. Audio from South Africa. Eddie can help him improve his decision making and technique. Yes, there is a deadly striker in the waiting to be activated. Destiny says Isak wants out, lads. Yeah, we've gathered. We're past that now. Well, me and Bobby are. Mitch is holding the fort here. He's like, I was saying it to someone today. He's like, when Aquaman puts down his trident and the ocean stops, like that's Mitch. He's putting the trident down against the ocean of people saying he's out.
See, if that's true that Liverpool are going to start at 40, we're definitely getting over 150 for Isak. If they're starting at 140,
who said that?
That was
someone said that.
It was Bob Mark had said that apparently Liverpool are going to put in £140 million bid.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's a good start. Then it's better than what Douglas was saying. I was depressed that when they said 130. Jam Stasher, unless Eddie and company know of a better young striker than Sesko that most of us are not aware of, then get Sesko, don't mess about. Well, I think Bobby you probably echoed those. If he's as good as he's pepped up to be, he's like just pay the money, isn't it?
Straight down. Well,
Couple,
actually, no. The delay has helped because he's now been discounted. So patience is being rewarded here.
exactly. We might even pay less than 60 mil for him at this stage. Isn't that what I can't remember? I was talking to you, Bobby, about it. I can't remember. Did RB Leipzig say as close to 60 million as possible? That's what they were looking for, isn't it? Or as
Correct. Yeah,
close
I think I copied you in a tweet about that.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah. The price is coming down.
Couple more comments, and we'll compare Mr. Isak to Mr. Sesko. Ronnie David Wood. When it comes, that's a hell of a name. When it comes to loyalty in football, that's very rare. It appears Alexander Isak doesn't respect the adoration of us Geordies, and his agent has turned his head for the cash. We are held back on. Strong words there. And Ronnie, I don't know if it's your first time, because maybe you've been here before, but welcome to the chat. God bless you, sir. And great to have you on. Couple more, Mr. Wobajog. Only the maddest Jokeres Golden Boot, highly unlikely, can match my match Mr. McClusion on Sesko and Isak in the and Isak. This is there's people that are angry with us that if Isak goes to Liverpool, it'll be beautiful though if he leaves the league though. I won't lie to you.
I'm taking that as a win still. If he doesn't stay in the Premier League, that's still a win.
I agree. What do you reckon, Bobby? Would you see that as a win if he's out the league?
Oh yeah. I mean, if he's in the league, I want him at Newcastle to neutralize the competition.
Exactly.
Or gone.
Bobby, what's your expectations for Chelsea, just out of interest, so far?
I think at a basic level, I think the Club World Cup is making us all very complacent. I think we've had a pretty. I know people like our strikers, but I think it's a pretty poor window. We're going into a Champions League campaign with strikers with very, very poor conversion rates. I think our midfield is solid, but with the goalkeeper that we have, that could be problematic. We have an easy start to the campaign, but I'm very worried about when we get to the stage where we get out of the group stage of the Champions League, start the knockout games, the run of games that we have in the league. I think that's where it might all come apart. So that's the period I expect us to do well up until the February period. And then that's where Maresca, if he is doing well up to that point, will really be tested. And that will really determine our season, that February-March period.
Well, Bobby, me and you were saying, I think it's me and you that were saying that we believe that the success of this season for the top teams is going to be their managers, because everyone's stocked. Chelsea are stocked, Arsenal are getting stocked in terms of players. Liverpool, obviously, Man City. I think it's going to come down, like everyone's going to have a pretty stocked squad. What you're describing about getting through those tough periods and everything else, like it's going to come down to the leadership.
Exactly right. And this is where I think Liverpool is putting a lot of pressure now on Slot. Now, look, they put a different kind of pressure on him last year, right? Where they gave him nothing. And Now, was that pressure, or did that just remove expectations altogether? It's going to be a different environment for him. Expectations will be sky high. So there's a potential opportunity for them to choke, even with Isak there. City, Pep has lost it, man. I've given up on Pep. It doesn't make sense the way he's holding on to these older players that are clearly a problem for the team, particularly defensively, and he's just being so stubborn about it. So unless he gets over that quickly, City's going to have a problem. So look, all of that clears the way, just to answer your original question, clears the way for charge for Chelsea. We have an easy start. So what we need to be careful of, though, is that the guys are on holiday and come back from holiday straight into the league, pretty complacent, you know, feeling as though they were world champions. And at the end of the day, if you look at that competition that we played against, it was pretty weak until the final, right?
Sometimes,
so mixed bag.
I think you point to a great fact. I think just in life in general, sometimes it's more interesting to see how people uh, are impacted by their wins rather than their losses. Because if you've lost, you've lost. Like you know, you've got to go back to the drawing board and do. But when you win, you forget that maybe the mistakes and the complacencies and everything else that's happening, you know, that you're talking about, that can set in if you're not.
Complacency is very dangerous, my friend, and the league happens real fast. You'll find yourself 7 points behind in 2-2s.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's compare the gentlemen together. As always, folks, FB Ref. I use a bit of FB Ref, a bit of AI, and match their stats together. Kind of wanting to know their playing styles, what kind of players they are, and would, especially for Sesko, I wanted to know how much does he would he suit Newcastle? Would he suit the Premier League? So first and foremost, Mr. Isak and Benjamin were kind of what's their? I keep on saying Benjamin. I don't know why. Maybe I got that song in my mind as well. Alexander Isak. Well, we know about his strengths. We actually did his strengths on Tuesday because we're looking at Wissa, and then he decided to not go on the plane. Goal and shot creations. We know all about that in terms of Mr. Isak. Incredible goal and shot creations, respectively. And passing, he's an excellent passer of a high completion rate of 84.3%. So it's about 3-4% higher than Mr. Sesko in that. Could that be because he's playing for a better team or a better team in better form at the moment? Those are factors as well. So it showcases a good movement. His movement and position is very, very good. You see that in his heat map. He's very much left, right, through the center as well. And density around the penalty area. And I can't remember if it was Eddie Howe that was saying that they really worked on Isak because he wanted to get more headed goals and stuff like that and kind of get more goals in general. And they worked on him just essentially making sure that he's always positioned in between the posts. And obviously that's paid dividends. Weaknesses, defensive contribution. I think that's partly down to how we play. Like we can go into like I mentioned, to a 4-5-1, and it's with someone literally on the halfway line if we can. So I'm not overly paying too much. He does work hard pressing. He does have a very high work rate and everything else like that. Mr. Sesko, physical presence. He wins 70% of his aerial duels, highlighting a strong aerial game. Shooting, he's got a high XG per 90. I think Bobby mentioned something around that. He was impressed in terms of his shots on target compared to Isak, suggesting he gets into better positions but has more clinical edge. That's interesting. Heat map activity spread across the pitch, indicating a versatility and movement. And we saw that a lot in terms of his shot compilations where he's actually run at defenders as well. Weaknesses, passing, lower pass completion rate of 61.9%. and fewer total touches compared to Isak, suggesting less involvement in build-up play. Again, I didn't get time to kind of really study how RB Leipzig play. If that's down to that, maybe I'm not sure. Defensive actions similar to Isak. Again, they're probably the guys that are having to make sure that they're kind of still carrying a threat for their team whilst the team defends. So
210 passes per 90 minutes.
I think that's maybe 21. Sometimes the thing gets a bit too high.
Okay, that threw me off.
Not too high. Typos.
That's crazy high.
I've learned to live with it. I'm like, I had it on Tuesday as well. I'm like, oh, that's not right. I had to go back and I realized it's a typo. Sometimes you get typos with these things. So how do they compare? Mr. Isak's more of a modern technical striker. I agree with that. With a strong focus on finishing and linking up play. His higher pass completion and central heat map activity suggests he thrives as a central figure. Capable of dropping deep to involve midfielders. Yeah, I agree with that so far, while retaining a lethal presence in the box. He fits the profile of a complete forward who balances goal scoring with playmaking. And you'll see that a lot in his scouting reports as well. Now, Mr. Sesko, let me take off the comment because I can't see the bottom part. Where's the comment? I can't find the comment. Where are you, comment? Oh, here we go. And guys, keep them comments coming in. You've been absolutely, the chat has been firing in. I've been seeing Liverpool fans. You guys already got a chant for him as well. Okay. Benjamin Sesko, a more traditional physical target man with a knack of exploiting space. I've kind of seen that in his compilations, actually, and winning aerial duels. His heat map shows a broader movement, hinting at a role as a mobile striker who can stretch defenses. I agree with that. And hold up play. Through his lower passing stats, though his lower passing stats indicate less involvement in intricate play. Right. So does Sesko can he succeed in the Premier League with Newcastle? I asked AI, and I'm going to ask Mr. Mitch and Bobby Fairview at the end of this, and I want to get guys in the chats viewing it. Do you think should Sesko join Newcastle? Would he be a success at Newcastle? Let us know. So Sesko has the potential to succeed in the Premier League with Newcastle, given his physical attributes and goal-scoring instincts, which are valuable in the league's competitive environment. His aerial dominance, which is good, could complement Newcastle's direct style, which we do have, suggests he can adapt to the physical and tactical demands. However, his lower passing accuracy, and Jam Stasher kind of talked about it, his passing is a lot better than what people are saying, but we'll see. Where is it? However, his lower passing accuracy and involvement in playmaking may require adjustment to the Premier League, hence Mr. Wissa. And the tactical setup under Newcastle's management, with time to improve his link-up play and adapt to the league's intensity. That's going to be a big one. Sesko could thrive alongside players like Isak, potentially forming a dynamic partnership if both were to play together. So they he can play very well. I think that's why Eddie Howe is so focused on having someone play alongside his striker, the two-man team. Mitch, I'll go to you first before I ask Mr. Fairview. What's your view on not Isak, on Mr. Sesko? Do you think he'll be? How do you think he'll do in the Premier League? And most importantly, how do you think he'll do with Newcastle?
I think he'd be the perfect fit for the league. I think he's got all the attributes to succeed. The low passing completion is a little bit of a worry, but I can't say I've seen how Leipzig play. If they're not playing that they get players up to him quick enough, potentially he's trying to have too much, and then that lowers his passing percentage. But yeah, from all the compilations I've seen, I watched loads when we was linked last time. I don't see Leipzig that much, so it is very much Dennis Wise type of scouting. But all the stat breaks down and everything does look like a player who could easily translate into the league, especially with being like 6'3", 6'4", and quite a physical player as well.
Yeah, I agree. How about yourself, Mr. Fairview? What's your views on Sesko so far from what you've seen tonight?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think with the feedback I had been seeing before, people having such strong feelings against him, I'm not seeing anything, certainly from what we've looked at tonight, that suggests he would not do well in the Premier League. So it's really a question to me of who he's going to be paired with. And I'm glad that you actually mentioned, Eddie, how working with these strikers on heading the ball, because there's obviously opportunity there for improvement. A lot of these stats have aerial duels as a defensive characteristic. It'll be interesting to see how he does it from an attacking point of view, how many aerial duels he wins. But for me, the biggest thing is going to be making a statement now, getting these two deals across the line, showing a bit of intent. I know Newcastle fans are desperate to see that. I would temper that by reminding them that Liverpool didn't show a lot of intent last summer when they went on to win the league. So sometimes you can go into a season with a bit of a hangover and still do well. So I think, look, you don't want to go in low balling again, because that's where we get confused. But it looks to me like you've got the two players that would improve the team and get you actually on a higher level than I think if you had kept Isak, if you can close these two.
Well, speaking of low balls, You're thinking, where am I going to go? Where am I going to go with this?
You need to elaborate on that a little bit.
I hope this is not a pause situation. That's not how I was using low ball.
Do you know what? Do you know what? I was supposed to share the screen, but I couldn't find it. And now that I've said it, I've gone in a long pause, and I can't. Now I've just put myself down the banter route for it. But we do have some updates from Mr. Romano. And then he's actually given a video as well. I don't know if I can get to play at some point, if I can even find it actually. But first of all, let me make sure you guys can see that. Yes, you can. So as 48 minutes ago during the show, Fabrizio Romano understand that Newcastle are ready to present their project to Benjamin Sesko as they want to go big. Proposal to the player also being prepared as Newcastle sees Sesko as ideal striker in case Isak leaves, as he wants to. Thanks for that, Fabrizio. As revealed earlier, Newcastle are very keen on Sesko. Now, Magpie Media, who I think watched the video, how can I remember? Where does Fabrizio show his video again? I forgot how he does it. In fact, would I find it on YouTube? Nah, let me see.
YouTube channel?
Does he have a YouTube channel? I think he does. Let me just quickly, let me see if I can find it while I've got you on, because he's actually laid out a payment thing already for it. So that's interesting. What does he say? Is he there already? Okay, hi guys, where's it? That's 7 hours ago. Has he got anything new? Fabrizio Romano, last 2 hours.
Yeah, the last one's cool. There is one, but I don't know if it looks like it's going to have a video in it of Sesko. It does say proposals in, but I don't know if that's...
I think it must be this one. So let me just see. Can you guys see my... Yes, you can. Let's see where we go from here. Oh, does he do timestamps? You better do timestamps. Yes, you do. Thank you. Intro. Okay, so let me get it here. Isak pushing to leave Newcastle. Mitchell... Sorry. All right, so let's see where we'll go from there.
Alexander Isak, because as mentioned today, the player is exploring a move away from Newcastle. He's been clear with the club. And so what happens? Newcastle started to react. Exclusive story you found today on the channel, in the video, and on my social media platforms is now spreading all over the world. Newcastle are going big, or at least are trying to go big, for Benjamin Sesko. Newcastle are on it. Newcastle, from what I understand, I can have this detail tonight, are prepared to make a proposal to the player and to present their project to the player. Newcastle really want to try to bring Benjamin Sesko. That will be massive. It's not easy because, as I mentioned in the previous video, there is this kind of gentleman agreement between Sesko and Leipzig. He can leave the club for a special club, and the special word is decided by Sesko. So
why is he doing the quotes? Well, why is he doing this funny quotes? Like, I don't get that. Like, what's up with that? What's he trying to say? What's he trying to say?
If Sesko goes to Leipzig and says, okay, for me, this club could be okay. In that case, the price tag can be 70-80 million euros range plus 5-10 million euros add-ons. Something around that, as a gentleman agreement with Leipzig. Newcastle are informed about that, and Newcastle now want to speak to those close to the player and present their project. So Newcastle are going big on Sesko. Why? Because they know Alexander Isak is...
Okay, so it's going to get to the part on Liverpool working on Isak's deal. Bobby, what do you take from that? Do you think Newcastle are... I'm always a bit like when they say preparing a beer, like who's...
This is a test. This is a test, right? Because I think we're all trying to understand how serious the intent here is. What is the strategy? And so we need to see a shift from this low balling to actually, putting in a serious offer and showing a player that we want you to be here, and here is the money. And you have to overpay. Like this is a situation that Newcastle is in right now. You have to overpay on the transfer fee and on wages, because there's no credibility question about the board, which I think will affect performances on the pitch, will affect whether or not players want to stay and pursue other clubs. Like it's time to know. I think this is where we as observers are going to be looking to see, well, are you going to put in this serious offer that Fabrizio is talking about here?
So are you a serious club, essentially? like where are you heading type of thing, isn't it?
But you have to be, right? Because the amount of Champions League money that is on offer, Eddie Howe has done his job. He's gotten you to the point where you can now start to operate on a whole new revenue level. You can't screw it up. And if the board doesn't understand that, you have to be concerned about the board.
Mitch, before we get into the just the final bit in terms of, and I know I'm working late, so if you guys want to drop off, there's no problem at all. Just on, before we get into Fabrizio and Liverpool working on the Isak deal, what's your thoughts about what you've heard so far about Newcastle preparing the deal and everything else?
It's this one, like, as much as I'd like Sesko, if Arsenal have balked at the prices that have been quoted to them, how are we then going to pay a similar price when we apparently won't pay Isak what he wants?
It could be Arsenal's way of just walking away without.
Yeah, I suppose. Be interesting to see where it goes and how much we offer and what ballparks we're in. Because like Bobby said, it shows how serious we're being about it if we're offering genuine money to attract players like this, rather than sort of lowballing like we have been doing with everybody else.
Okay, so let's just quickly see what Mr. Fabrizio says about Liverpool working on a deal for Alexander Isak.
Is pushing to leave the club this summer. Liverpool are there, guys. Liverpool are the club working on a deal for Alexander Isak. So Liverpool are on it. Liverpool spoke several times with those close to the player. Liverpool remain interested even after signing Google Piqué. So Liverpool are on it for Alexander.
By the way, how many times said Liverpool in that sentence? But
then, as I mentioned today, it's going to be important to clarify the Luis Diaz situation as soon as possible. It's not only a technical point; it's also a financial point.
Okay, so Luis Diaz's exit is key to funding the Isak move. I think Liverpool are also up in a race against time here, by the sounds of it.
Some money and then can reinvest also in Alexander Isak. But Liverpool are ready. Liverpool want to go big. Liverpool believe that if Newcastle will open the doors to this opportunity, they can be ready to really try to sign Alexander Isak. As I mentioned today.
And now Hilal are not in concrete talks there. That's a bit of a interesting way of finishing if Newcastle open the doors.
This was kind of the point I was saying earlier. They say certain bits, but then also shut down what they've already said with the next line of what they say. It's very weird way of wording everything they've been saying today.
Well, I think they have to be clever. For me, it just says that the club haven't opened the door yet. I think if Benjamin says yes, RB Leipzig say yes, I think that door could potentially open. From what he's saying, Isak is saying yes, please, please, please. That's how it's coming across to me. But Bobby, what's your view on that final bit there?
Yeah, because his English is not his first language, I tend not to read a lot into it.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, just the way the Italians speak the English. But look, what people aren't comfortable talking about, and I will mention respectfully to the memory of Jota, may rest in peace, is that Liverpool has received a big check from the insurance companies, and so they've got money to spend. People are not connecting the fact that with Diaz going to Bayern Munich, those two payments basically can fund this player. And so I do believe they have the money, and it does not impact their original plan. So that's why I kind of think it's going to happen. I'm sure they've promised him the wages. They can afford it because they're just at that level where they are guaranteed a certain level of prize money every year. And that's the level that Newcastle has got to try to strive to get to, right? But yeah, I think they have the money, and I take it seriously.
I agree. And guys, I've got 57 people in the chat. Not in the chat, watching the show. You've been absolutely phenomenal. It's been really consistent throughout the show. I don't know how many have we got that have liked.
We're at 44 now, which is a fantastic ratio, to be fair. So big up everybody that's done that.
You're absolutely right, Mitch. That is a fantastic ratio, guys. Let's see if we can beat 50, get it out to as many people as possible. We're coming to the concluding part of the show, and at least I
And you
got
didn't even
material.
have to call it an emergency stream.
I know. I think if I did, though, all my enemies, all my oppositions, will be
Well, you
here.
know
like,
what? I love the chat in here, yeah, because we said let's get the likes up, and it went up 3 within seconds.
Big up.
So we're now
Big
on
up to you
47.
guys.
Come on, 3 more. Let's get a nice round 50 people. Let's do
You
this.
guys are
And for all the
absolutely.
haters, please subscribe. All those Liverpool haters.
You're all absolutely welcome. So I'm going to read the final. And I was going to say because I had a whole stuff on Mr. What's the name? Wilson. That's going to be the sporting director. Mr. Anthony David Hopkinson is going to be the CEO. But we'll do that. I got material now for next week for Tuesday. Hopefully by then they'll be appointed. What a time to be appointed Newcastle sporting director and CEOs. But let's finish up with the chat and conclude the show. David Bache, the club can use the Isak sale to build a young talented team using data-driven scouting and recruitment and Wise Suds. That's the new technical director. I don't know if you saw the show on Tuesday, Mitch. I did some research on him. He does Mike Wynn sent me some presentations that he's done. I can forward it to you too. I like him. He's very, very personable guy. Very likable guy.
Listen to that earlier. I'd be interested to see more of that presentation he done.
Proper. The sports director must be fully in sync with the. Yeah, well, that part goes without saying. That's why people were saying, why does Hal know him? It helps when Hal likes the guy. Jam Stasher, Bobby is right. He's right. Bobby, you're right. You are right. We've got. I think it's to do with the stuff you were saying about Newcastle not lowballing. Ian McKenna, that's not flattering stock position. No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
Fabrizio won't like you for that if he sees it.
Well, how did I leave him? I didn't even notice that. Was he doing something funny?
Yeah, he was doing them.
Destiny, Mitchell, Toon didn't. Okay, I think you guys are bad. I think Destiny came here to banter. Jam Stasher, the fact that Arsenal went for him should tell you something right there. It'll be so interesting. Anyway, I'll leave that one. I'm going to keep my powder dry. Ginesto Wijnaldum, money is not an issue for Liverpool, sadly. Elliot, Nunes, Diaz, Chiesa, and Tsimikas will leave this summer. Do you think they can sell all those players, Bobby?
So it's all good wanting them out. You have to have a buyer.
It's usually been Saudi, but I guess who's that now?
But this is what I've been saying all along, right? The pent-up supply is crazy. There's going to be at least, I want to say, 30 to 40 players that are on the cusp of first team. A lot of them probably more mature players as well. There's going to be huge buying opportunities. And they have to move them. They really just can't keep them on the books, right? And the pressure on the clubs will be the restrictions on the loans. So, do I think they're going to move all of them? They'll have to. And this is why clubs like Newcastle, who have actually not been successful in closing trades, will have a lot of dry powder to take advantage.
I love that. David Barter says, string Liverpool along until the day we sell him to Saudi. That'll be a great finish, but I think he's got a lot more to give. Isak, he wants to win some trophies in the big leagues. Hopefully not in the Premier League, but we'll see. Isak goes, so if and when we get more players who want to be, I'm happy. I still remember going to every game in the Championship, so so do I. So do I in UFC 1997. Ian McKenna, he took it to Ginesta there. Wobajog, hear me out. We sell Martinelli at 40 million to Bayern, get funds to Rodrigo, you keep Isak, mission Zubimendi 2.0 accomplished. What's that got to do with us then? I don't get it.
I've got no idea. So that stops Liverpool selling Diaz to Bayern, which means they then haven't got the money for Isak. Yeah.
Well, we'll be friends for life, Obojog. We'll be friends for life. David Bart says 44 let's get to 50. Have we broken 50? Let me know, guys.
Not quite. 47. Come on, 3 more guys before we close off.
Come on, guys. We can do it. We're nearly closing off. Can we get to 50 before we do that? Matt Lou says we have the money, but no one to go after targets. No, I'm sure we've got people. We have to have someone talking to people. Have to. But I know the feeling. NUFC 97, I hope we do sell Isak. Wow, I hope we do sell Isak. If not to the Dole benefactor. Okay.
No.
I'm going to be respectful, but I get where the feeling comes from. Davey Eddie, excellent stuff, Philip. Enjoyed it. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you guys have enjoyed the show. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show. It's been a crazy ride so far, but we're in it. Ronnie says Fabrizio Romano has went down in my estimations of him in the last couple of weeks. Why is that? He says that he's absurdly Watford, but is really he really Liverpool doesn't want to upset Juve fans. I think it's difficult to be Fabrizio and Ornstein nowadays. The way they word their stuff nowadays is because they can't make anybody happy. But I get where you're coming from. A couple more and we'll close up. David Barter. Whenever I say a couple more, but Bobby is always right. We need him as DOF. But listen,
big up, David. Big up.
If Bobby becomes Newcastle, do you know what's going to happen with Bobby? The first thing that's going to happen is going to be a big old conference in Saudi Arabia, a £200 million offer for Isak, £50 million wage packet, and the loan back to Newcastle is what's going to happen. And and the entire Premier League with pitchforks. Do you know how many shows I'm really getting invited to? How many more shows just to tell me just so they can vent their anger at me? Matt Lou, I wish we had sporting director to get deals done because we now look absolutely lost. Well, we've got one here with Bobby. It would be fantastic. 51 likes, guys. You guys are amazing. Absolutely stupendous. Big up to yourselves. Ian McKenna, I've heard people call them. Okay, here we go. That's for you guys. Finally, I'm going to end it with. Is it Laminos? You got two more from Laminos. I know people are mad at Mitchell for some reason, but Eddie wanted all the power. Last summer when he was having disagreements with him, now Mitchell words are the truth. Our transfer stature isn't great. Bobby, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, look, nobody's going to actually ever know about why he left.
Yeah.
I personally worry that it is about funding and the board. I can't see him having left because of Eddie Howe. And the problem is that there's a common theme of lethargy, inaction, lack of funding, lack of intent. And I can see that being more of a driver for him than Eddie Howe wanting something, if you see what I'm saying.
Mm.
And he was the CEO, right? So the CEO is not going to clash over football. That'll be more of a director of football. Was he sporting director?
Yeah, he was a sporting director. Paul Mitchell, sporting director.
Got it. Yeah. So he's the one that just left, yeah?
Yeah.
Got it. So I mean, it's possible. I'm not sure who the players are. I know you're missing a CEO as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's got blood cancer and.
Okay, so the CEO is ill and the sporting director abruptly left, right?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
So with the CEO not being around as well, the funding responsibility may have come to the sporting director's plate, right? And they might feel frustrated. So I think that is more of a probability that it's a board-related, support-related, funding-related issue than it is Eddie Howe. That would be my instinct.
I agree with that. Guys, we've come to the conclusion of the show and we've talked all things Alexander Isak, Newcastle, Liverpool. We've talked about, the whole situation. Was he right to do it? Was he not right to do it? Where does it leave Newcastle? Does he leave? Some folks don't believe that it's going to leave. Some people might stay. If he does leave, who do we have replacement? And that's what we talked about. Benjamin Sesko. We did our own scouting report on him, some video analysis and some comparisons with Isak as well. I didn't get to talk to you guys about number one. We brought a player today, Mr. Young, the young Korean as well. But at some point we get to talk about him. We've also got some more material on our soon-to-be sporting director Ross Wilson from Nottingham Forest, and Mr. David Hopkinson, former Real Madrid CEO, joining the Toon. I've got some interesting videos from them and some takes on them that I want to get from you guys. But you guys have been absolutely phenomenal. In the chat, we've asked for 50 likes. You've given it to us. This video is going to go out to more people, more subscribers, all down to you. But I want to thank my illustrious panel. I pushed them past midnight, guys. Goodness gracious, and they've been absolutely phenomenal. Mitch, where can they find you? Where can the folks find you?
Firstly, thanks for having me on again. Pleasure as always, mate. I love coming on here. It's always a great chat, and the chat flies off. Makes it even better. But you can find me where the owls sleep, 9 p.m. every Sunday.
Phenomenal. And Mr. Fairview, always highly demanded by our chat and our people, and an incredible voice to have on the show. Where can the folks find you?
At Bobby Fairview on X. And I actually subscribed to Where the Owls Sleep just this evening. I'd encourage everybody else to do that. Always enjoyed being on with you, Mitch. Substantive contributions. And as you know, Philip, I am always at your disposal. I support content that is substantive, my friend, and I like your product a lot.
Thank you, sir. That means a lot coming from you, honestly. And guys, big up to the chat. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. Even the Liverpool fans that came on and gave us their new chance for everything. It's going to be that game week 2. Isak line up against Sesko is going to be hot. I expect a lot from Mr. Joe Linton on that day. But as always, folks, to the chat and to all the people that have been here, make sure you have a great evening, morning, and day, whatever you do. And as always, folks, take care and God bless.